Hi everyone, this is Anna McCullum. I'm here with Sumesh Balakrishnan, and we're from the Enterprise Manager Product Management team. Thanks for joining this session on Zero Downtime Monitoring in Enterprise Manager 24. For our agenda today, I'll start with our existing monitoring solutions for unplanned and planned Enterprise Manager downtimes. Then I'll talk about the new Zero Downtime Monitoring service in Enterprise Manager 24. Finally, Sumesh and I will give you a demo of zero downtime monitoring in context of an EM planned maintenance activity. Many of our customers rely on Enterprise Manager for 24/7 monitoring of their mission critical systems, including databases, application servers, and applications. You can configure Enterprise Manager for high availability to ensure monitoring continuity in case there is an unplanned downtime event. For example, configuring multiple OMS servers with a load balancer provides high availability in case an OMS server crashes. For planned downtime, when EM itself is brought down for maintenance, you can use Always On Monitoring, or AOM for short, to give you visibility into critical alerts. AOM is a separate application with its own repository that can be used in conjunction with Enterprise Manager. When Enterprise Manager is brought down for planned maintenance, using AOM, you can continue to get monitoring visibility by getting email notifications for target availability alerts, that is, target down alerts, metric alerts, and metric errors. Customers using AOM have, however, asked us for additional functionality, including all of the capabilities of incident rules and support for all other notification methods, such as SNMP traps, and integration with ticketing and event connectors. We meet all of these monitoring requirements with the new Zero Downtime Monitoring service in Enterprise Manager 24. With Zero Downtime or ZDT monitoring will always be available. You'll get full alerting and notification features. Alerts will be triggered and raised, and incident rule actions will be executed. This includes incident creation based on your incident rule setup, event compression using rule level compression or event compression policies, setting of incident lifecycle properties like incident owner or resolution status, notifications such as email, SNMP traps, OS commands, webhooks, and Slack. If you use the lifecycle status property on your targets, these will continue to be honored when it comes to processing of the respective events. For example, events from targets whose lifecycle property is production will be processed at a higher priority than events from test targets. Corrective actions will be triggered, tickets will be opened using the ticketing connectors, and events will be sent to external systems using the event connectors. Let's see how Enterprise Manager provides monitoring continuity during upgrades. In Enterprise Manager 13.5, you can receive alerts from agents, create incidents, and send email and other notifications for these alerts. When EM is upgraded from EM 13.5 to EM 24, there will be a planned downtime during which EM is unavailable. At this time, you can use always-on monitoring to receive critical alerts from agents and send email notifications. When the upgrade to EM24 is complete, you will now have ZDT monitoring service, which is responsible for receiving of alerts, creating incidents, sending email and SNMP traps, opening tickets, and other types of notifications. Later on, if there is an RU update, While EM is under planned maintenance for the RU update, the ZDT monitoring service will continue to be available. Hence, it will continue to receive alerts, create incidents, open tickets, and perform other notification actions. When the update is complete, ZDT monitoring continues to work seamlessly. Now let's see how we provide alert continuity with the ZDT monitoring service. This means the life cycle of an alert is maintained even during EM planned maintenance. Let's walk through an example. Let's say we have an alert triggered at warning severity. An incident is created and a ticket is opened for this alert. Later on, an RU or release update becomes available, and EM goes into planned maintenance for this RU update. However, ZDT monitoring service is still available even during this EM planned maintenance. Let's say during this planned maintenance, the alert changed severity from warning to critical. ZDT monitoring can still receive and process the new critical severity and update the incident and ticket accordingly. After the RU update is complete, all of EM becomes available and ZDT monitoring continues to be operational as well. Let's say the alert severity has now cleared. ZDT monitoring can process the clear severity by closing the incident and corresponding ticket. Here's another example of alert continuity with the ZDT monitoring service. In this scenario, an alert is triggered during EM plant maintenance period. Let's walk through this scenario. Let's say you are using EM24 with ZDT monitoring. A release update is available, and you bring EM down for planned maintenance for this RU update. ZDT monitoring continues to be available during this time. Let's say a target went down, causing a fatal alert to be generated, and this alert gets processed by ZDT monitoring, which also creates an incident and generates a ticket. Later on, the RU update is complete, and ZDT monitoring continues to function. Let's say the target was brought back up, resulting in a clear severity, which ZDT monitoring will process and clear the incident and ticket accordingly. Hence, you can see how alerts can be triggered and processed, and its life cycle from fatal to clear severity seamlessly processed even throughout EM planned downtime events. At this point, we would like to show you a demo that we recorded earlier of how ZDT monitoring continues to work even during EM planned downtime. In our demo, we have an Enterprise Manager 24 site with 2 OMS servers. We created an incident rule set on our production targets. In this rule set, we have 2 rules. The first rule creates an incident for target down, and the second rule acts on the incident by sending email and opening a PagerDuty ticket for the incident. This is what we will show in our demo. We will start the OMS patching procedure, which eventually brings down the OMS. We'll confirm that ZDT monitoring is still available. We'll bring the target down to generate an incident, and we'll show that we continue to receive emails and the PagerDuty ticket for this incident, even when EM is under planned maintenance.
In this demo, I'll be patching my Enterprise Manager 24.1 with the ZDT patching method. So just to recap, the ZDT patching method involves 4 steps. The first one is about the analyze, where you can check for the patch conflict. The second step is the deploy phase, where you can deploy the patch binaries, which is an online operation. And once the deploy is complete, then you execute the update operation again, which is an online operation where you can run all the updates while the OMS is up and running. And finally, you'll be verifying whether the patch is successfully registered in the inventory or not. So now let's go to the demo and execute the patch. So here, this is a multi-OMS environment where you see the primary OMS on the left and the additional OMS is running on the right side. And on the primary OMS, I've already completed the deploy phase. So as highlighted, the deploy is already completed. Now it is waiting for me to execute the update operation. So let me go and run the update. So I'm running the OMS patcher update command, and it'll ask for the basic validations like the WebLogic credentials. And once the WebLogic credentials are passed, then it'll ask for the database user credential, which is sys. So I'm patching this system as sys user. So once the password is validated, it'll go and execute some of the component checks as part of the patch on the primary OMS. And then it does some prerequisite checks for all the sub-patches. So while this is continuing, on the right side, you can see that the additional OMS is still up and running. And on the primary OMS, on the left side, you can see it is doing some actions on the primary OMS. So currently the patch is in process on the primary OMS. It is now going and applying all the sub-patches that are inside the patch. So while this is going on the additional OMS, you can still see the additional OMS is up and running. So the primary OMS is still under the patching session. The sub-patches are getting applied on the primary OMS, but the additional OMS instance, as you can see on the right, it is still up and running. So on the primary OMS, it is doing activities like starting the admin server, and then it is doing some bunch of activities on the primary OMS system. So while this is all still going, you can see that on the right, it is keeping the additional OMS up and running. So it is setting some context on the primary OMS. So it is currently running some executions on the primary OMS, and then it will go and set the check for the job status. And here you can see until this time the primary OMS is up and running, but now when I go and check for the status, you will clearly see that the OMS is actually down, but the ZDT service, which is the monitoring service, is up and running. The monitoring service is up and running on the additional OMS.
Continuing on with the demo, if a user tries to access the EM console at this time, they'll see the message that Enterprise Manager is under planned maintenance, and monitoring, incidents, and notifications will continue to work. Now let's generate a target down incident. To do this, let's stop the listener. And let's also reconfirm that the listener has indeed stopped. Soon the agent will detect this and generate a fatal event. Now let's open up our email client, shown on the left, and wait for the email on listener down to appear. Let's also open up the PagerDuty UI on the right and wait for the ticket to be created. Now we see the email for the listener down incident. Opening the email, we see the expected information, including listener name, the host that it's on, when the incident was triggered, the message, incident ID, etc. Now, if I try to click on the link in this email, I would have seen the EM console message that we showed earlier, noting that EM is under maintenance and monitoring and notifications continue. Let's continue to keep an eye on the PagerDuty UI. Now we see the PagerDuty ticket come in for the listener down. Clicking on the ticket, here we see the status, when it was opened, and then we can scroll down to see more details. And here we see information about the listener down incident that was created. Customers who rely on Enterprise Manager for monitoring mission-critical targets will see uninterrupted enterprise class monitoring and alerting even during EM plant maintenance. As you saw in the demo, this includes full support for notification methods and integration with event and ticketing systems, so administrators will be able to receive incident notifications through the same expected channels and thus respond quickly to these incidents. And with continuous monitoring, they'll always be able to maximize uptime of systems by proactively keeping an eye on alerts and responding to these alerts to prevent downtime. Thanks for attending this session. For more information on Enterprise Manager, refer to these additional resources.